So far, we have been running our applications locally in IIS Express. And what we're going to be doing today is adding migrations, and that would allow us to eventually put our applications online. And when we do that, we are no longer going to have to drop and recreate the database. So it should speed up your applications. In addition to covering migrations, we're also going to cover connection resiliency and command interception. Both of these things will kind of come into play when we go live online. Because especially if you're using Azure or something in the cloud, your commands could get delayed and you don't want your application timing out. So first we're going to talk about connection resiliency. We are going to be applying it to our Contasso University app. And when you open the app and do the hands-on, you do want to make sure that you're not on a cloud drive or a network drive because the commands that we will eventually be using will not work on those drives. So at this point, you're going to want to maybe copy it into a document folder, or if you're working out of your C drive, out of source and repos, you should be fine. So first we're going to talk about connection resiliency. And let me pull this over here. So basically what this is, it's a feature in Entity Framework that retries failed SQL queries. And why would a SQL query fail? Well, typically if it's something that you've tested and you know works, it fails because your database is busy or there's some interference with the connection to the server that the database is on. And these database servers, especially the cloud-based servers, are exposed to network issues. Usually these issues are resolved in a short period of time, and you don't want a command timing out because of these problems. So how do we get this connection resiliency to work? There's a couple of things that Entity Framework needs to know in order for us to set this up. They need to know, or it needs to know, which exceptions are caused by network connectivity and whether or not these exceptions are temporary. So if it deals with network connectivity, then it should be temporary. If it's a programming bug, then it's not temporary. Okay, so we need to basically tell an Entity Framework, where these glitches may occur. We need to tell Entity Framework how long to wait between retries. So it tries the command and there's a network issue. So how long does it wait before it tries the command again? And how many times should it retry the command before it just simply gives up? So Entity Framework has been set up for Azure. So the settings that work well in Azure are pre-configured in Entity Framework. So we can kind of use the pre-configured settings, or we can actually configure our own settings for any database that is supported by Entity Framework. And what we're going to be doing is using the pre-configured settings. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a class that derives from DB configuration. And then in our new class, we are going to set up a SQL database retry policy. Okay, and this is also called an execution strategy. Okay, and so here's a little example of how we would set that up. And you can see that we're calling it school configuration because we're dealing with Contasso University, but that is being derived from DB configuration. And you can see that we are using set execution strategy. And then we have our data SQL client, and we are setting that equal to SQL Azure execution strategy. So the next video is actually going to walk you through hands-on one, which creates this strategy in our app.